A 40-year-old woman sits in an office in New York City. She's just been fired. After 17 years working at Vogue magazine, she was passed over for a promotion and let go. She's 40 years old with no job, no clear future, and no idea what to do next. Her name is Vera Wang. Growing up, Vera had dreamed of being an Olympic figure skater. She trained for years. She was talented, graceful, and dedicated. But when it came time for the U.S. Olympic team selection, she didn't make it. Her dream was over, so Vera pivoted. She went into fashion. She became an editor at Vogue, one of the most prestigious fashion magazines in the world. She worked there for 17 years. She thought she'd eventually become editor-in-chief. But in 1987, Anna Wintour was hired as editor-in-chief instead. Vera was devastated. She'd been passed over. 2 years later, in 1989, she was let go entirely. At 40 years old, Vera Wang was unemployed and heartbroken. Most people would see this as the end. But for Vera, it was the beginning. She decided to design wedding dresses. She had no formal training as a designer. She'd never made a dress in her life. But she had an eye for fashion and a vision. She opened a small bridal boutique in New York City. At first, nobody took her seriously. A 40-year-old former magazine editor with no design experience? Why would anyone buy her dresses? But Vera didn't care what people thought. She designed dresses that were different, elegant, modern, and sophisticated. Celebrities started noticing. In 1994, figure skater Nancy Kerrigan wore a Vera Wang dress at the Winter Olympics. It was stunning. The world saw it. Suddenly, Vera Wang was a name. Today, Vera Wang is a global fashion empire. Her net worth is estimated at over $400 million. She's dressed everyone from Michelle Obama to Kim Kardashian. She's one of the most successful designers in the world. And it all started because she got fired at 40. This is the story of how failure became the foundation of a fashion empire. Let's rewind to 1949. Vera Wang was born in New York City to wealthy Chinese-American parents. Her father was a successful businessman. Her mother was a translator at the United Nations. Vera grew up with privilege. She attended private schools. She learned French. She took ballet lessons. But her real passion was figure skating. From a young age, Vera was obsessed with skating. She trained for hours every day. She competed nationally. She dreamed of making the U.S. Olympic team. But when it came time for the Olympic trials, Vera didn't make the cut. She was devastated. Her dream of becoming an Olympic skater was over. She was heartbroken, but she didn't give up on her ambitions. She pivoted. If she couldn't skate, she'd do something else that required creativity and discipline. Vera went to college at Sarah Lawrence and studied art history. After graduation, she moved to Paris to study fashion. When she returned to New York, she applied for a job at Vogue magazine. Vogue hired her as an assistant in 1970. Vera was 21 years old. For the next 17 years, Vera worked her way up at Vogue. She became a senior fashion editor. She styled photo shoots. She worked with top photographers and models. She traveled the world covering fashion shows. Vera was good at her job. She thought she had a future at Vogue. She hoped to one day become editor-in-chief. But in 1987, Condé Nast, the publisher of Vogue, made a shocking decision. They hired Anna Wintour, a British editor, to be the new editor-in-chief of Vogue. Vera was passed over. She'd spent 17 years at the magazine, and someone else got the job she wanted. Vera was crushed. She felt betrayed, but she stayed at Vogue for 2 more years. Then, in 1989, she was let go. At 40 years old, Vera Wang was unemployed. Most people at 40 who lose their job panic. They scramble to find another similar job. But Vera didn't do that. She decided to take a risk. She'd always loved fashion. What if she could create her own brand? Vera had recently gotten engaged. When she went shopping for a wedding dress, she was shocked. Everything was outdated. Puffy sleeves, lace everywhere. Nothing felt modern or elegant. Vera thought, I could design something better. She had no formal training as a fashion designer. She'd never sewn a dress. But she had 17 years of experience in the fashion industry. She knew what looked good. She understood trends. And she had connections. Vera decided to open a bridal salon. Her father helped her financially. In 1990, Vera Wang Bridal opened in the Carlisle Hotel in New York City. At first, business was slow. Vera was an unknown designer. Why would brides trust a 40-year-old former magazine editor with no design portfolio? But Vera's designs were different. They were sleek, modern, and sophisticated. No puffy sleeves. No over-the-top lace. Just clean, elegant lines. Word started to spread. Celebrities began wearing her dresses. In 1994, figure skater Nancy Kerrigan competed in the Winter Olympics. She wore a costume designed by Vera Wang. It was simple, elegant, and stunning. Millions of people around the world watched Nancy skate in that dress. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know, who is Vera Wang? Orders started pouring in. Vera's bridal business exploded. But Vera didn't stop at wedding dresses. She expanded into evening wear, ready-to-wear fashion, fragrances, and home goods. The Vera Wang brand became synonymous with elegance and luxury. Celebrities lined up to wear her designs. Michelle Obama, Chelsea Clinton, Ivanka Trump, Kim Kardashian, Ariana Grande. All wore Vera Wang. By the 2000s, Vera Wang was a household name. She was no longer just a bridal designer. She was a fashion icon. Today, Vera Wang's net worth is estimated at over $400 million. She's one of the most successful fashion designers in the world. She's dressed some of the most famous women on the planet. And it all started because she got fired at 40. So what happened? Vera didn't make the Olympic team. She was passed over for editor-in-chief at Vogue. She was fired at 40, but she didn't see those failures as the end. She used them as fuel. When Vera couldn't find a wedding dress she liked, she didn't complain. She created her own. She saw a gap in the market and filled it. Vera had no formal design training, but she had vision, taste, and industry knowledge. She trusted herself, and she took the risk of starting her own brand at 40. When Nancy Kerrigan wore Vera's design at the Olympics, it was a turning point. That one moment gave Vera global visibility. She capitalized on it and never looked back. Vera Wang didn't make the Olympics. She got fired from Vogue at 40. But she didn't quit. She built a $400 million fashion empire because sometimes getting fired is the best thing that can happen to you.